Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink service that you have here at the White House?
No, I haven't heard that. I mean, I may move the Tesla around a little bit, but I don't think we'll be doing that with Starlink. It's a good service.
Where are you going to move it to? Move it around. What do you mean?
I have a lot of locations.
Actually, about
that he's losing his EV mandate, and he's very upset about things, but he could lose a lot more than that. I can tell you right now. Hey, Elon can lose a lot more than that. I don't know. I think we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible?
Well, here we go again, right? Because it was seeming like for a while that this issue was basically resolved, but apparently not. And so today we have to discuss the brand new plan by Elon Musk to, and by the way, this is exactly what it is. There's no other way to put it. Sabotage Trump and hand an electoral supermajority to the Democrats in 2026 and likely many more elections going forward, assuming this idea actually gets off the ground. And that is exactly the Elon Musk announcement today that he allegedly, according to him, will be starting a brand new third party. This party will be known as the America Party, and it essentially comes as a response to his falling out with Trump and his disgruntlement over the big, beautiful bill. A bill I will once again reiterate, I do not believe Elon Musk fundamentally understands. This whole idea that it's going to raise the deficit is not actually anything written in the bill or outlined by the spending of the bill, considering it's not even a budget bill. Rather, it comes from a projection. It is mere hypothetical conjecture from the Congressional Budget Office, an institution that has been historically wrong about many of these things. And by the way, I would also note, does not subscribe to the very libertarian economic theories I thought we were defending here. But anyways, we'll talk about that. We'll get into it. First and foremost, though, I do want to say, in the wake of this announcement, again, Elon Musk starting a third party, potentially actually basically pretty much saying it outright, wanting to sabotage the GOP in the midterms, that before we freak out too much, before we overreact, I do want to point out it is worth considering here whether Elon Musk will actually go through with this idea. I mean, you're talking about a guy who has flip-flopped, basically said 1 month he's going to do something and then doesn't do it even just 1 month ago in the month of June when he was having his falling out with Trump, and then they basically made a truce. Elon is on the timeline, in his own words, admitting here that the America Party would be a bad idea. He basically backed off of it last month. We didn't hear about it much, but apparently, I don't know, he's mad at Trump again, and so now he's going to be launching it off the ground. Nonetheless, we'll get into it. I'll discuss with you today what is going on and why Democrats very clearly here are massively celebrating what Elon Musk is at the very least saying he's going to do, which should tell you a lot about how this idea, whatever his intentions truly are with it, is going to end. Coming simultaneously as we got polling today out of Rasmussen in terms of how this party will perform. And as you could expect is usually the case with third parties in American politics in general, but especially nowadays, this serves no actual purpose. It's not going to win, but it is merely an agent, again, to hand political power to the Democrats for some odd reason, considering I'm not exactly sure they're going to be the ones who are massive deficit hawks there. So again, you have to ask on some levels the serious questions here. Is this really about the deficit, or is this further kind of a combination of things, but it really boils down to a personal falling out, a personal scorn over Trump? I don't know. We'll get into it. We'll talk about it here. First, though, folks, do us a big favor. As usual, if you enjoy our content, you know what to do, right? Make sure you hit that like button down below, subscribe if you are new, share the channel with a friend. All of those things help support our work and ensure that we can keep doing these videos and get them out to more and more people. And with that said, okay, first and foremost, just starting here, as you can see, right? Apparently today, Elon is launching this so-called America Party. Its key policies here saying he will be centrist on most issues. I don't even know what that means, but apparently here's the platform of the America Party, saying it first of all wants to reduce the debt, allowing only responsible spending, in his words, to modernize the military with AI and robotics, push hard on AI to win the tech race. Seems like there's a lot of technology, AI-related things in a political party, so major issue, as you can see. Wonder why that might be, by the way, but okay, whatever. Cuts regulations across the board, focusing on energy, protecting free speech, and supporting pronatalism to raise birth rates. So there you go. That's the platform here of the America Party. Now, it's worth noting here that despite Elon maybe not having actually read the big beautiful bill, not having paid attention to the policies enacted by the Trump administration, this is exactly what the BBB and the Trump administration seeks to do. That's why I once again reiterate, I think the most unfortunate part of this falling out is I don't think, frankly, that Elon actually understands the big beautiful bill or what it does. Because first and foremost, on the question of reducing debt, allowing, in his words, only responsible spending, we're talking about the big beautiful bill here that makes the largest cuts to entitlement programs, think Medicaid, think the welfare, all that stuff, in U.S. history. It is an extremely fiscally conservative bill. All the slander about it, that's the truth about it. Again, largest cuts in history. The very reason here why the Congressional Budget Office is claiming that it is going to raise the deficit is because of their theory, essentially, that by extending and renewing the Trump tax cuts, you're going to see a decrease in tax revenue, and essentially that's going to drive up the deficit. Now, that, of course, did not happen in the 2017 Trump tax cuts, nor did it happen in the 1980s when Ronald Reagan cut taxes. It's worth noting it's long been a cornerstone of conservative economics to state that actually the opposite happens if you lower taxes. That increases economic growth, increases productivity. But that also raises a very interesting question. So is the agenda of the America Party to essentially raise taxes on Americans? Because that's the only way you could say, oh, we're going to further balance budget or reduce debt or deficit there. Because if you're going to say, oh, it's about cutting, okay, you can argue you want to cut more or something. But to pretend, again, the BBB didn't make massive cuts is fundamentally false. Again, biggest cuts in history we're talking about here. It's a fiscally conservative bill. So what are these people talking about there? Number one. Now, on the AI stuff, it's also worth noting here, as is pointed out by James Fishback. First of all, Trump has already done this. He's had Stargate launched, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure Elon Musk is a part of there. You have the building of chips in Arizona, AI-powered border monitoring, pro-tech, right? But Elon Musk at the same time, according to this post, tried to block the OpenAI, by the way, a competitor's $500 billion investment in American AI. The big beautiful bill he hates so much, by the way, originally did have a moratorium on future AI regulation. And so, again, I don't even understand what's going on there. Less regulation, by the way, here, cut regulations across the board and focusing on cutting them on energy. Again, the big beautiful bill does this. The big beautiful bill literally, by the way, ended subsidies. Big government, right? Sending out tax money and, favoring one or the other regulations on green energy. But ironically here, that's something that's worth noting here as well, that Elon Musk literally opposed. He got mad at Trump. He got mad at the big beautiful bill for cutting out green energy subsidies, which once again really makes you have to beg some questions about the motive here. It's honestly kind of confusing. Okay, free speech. Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I think we all support free speech. I'm not sure that's at odds with the Trump administration or whatever here. And then furthermore, supporting pro-natalism to raise birth rates. Okay, well, on that front, it's worth noting, number one here, that the big beautiful bill he opposes so much literally extends and expands the child tax credit, which is, yes, a pro-natalist policy. As James also points out here, Elon Musk is pro-abortion, so it's kind of confusing there on many different levels. But okay, again, there you basically have it. And I again reiterate here, how is this at odds, supposedly, with the big beautiful bill or what Trump has done already thus far?
Well, this is the largest spending cut, Laura, in American history. Think about what's in this bill. The largest tax cut and reform in American history. The largest spending cut in American history. The largest welfare reform in American history. The largest reduction in federal spending ever achieved in a single bill. And then it also includes the most robust, comprehensive border security and immigration enforcement package we've ever seen. One that will allow us to deport millions upon millions of invaders. To oppose this bill is to support the invasion. To oppose this bill is to support the continued giveaways and freebies to cheaters and scam artists. To oppose this bill is to support a 68% tax hike on the American public. And is also to oppose this bill is to support a deprivation of all of the tax benefits that President Trump is fighting to deliver the middle class, like no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. The Senate passed this bill just today, demonstrating that they are fighting for President Trump. They are fighting for his agenda. They are not going to listen to an outside voice that does not represent the interests of the American people or the interests of the Republican Party. And the House is going to rally behind President Trump to pass this bill for America.
By the way, it is also worth noting here that the bill does, guess what, adds massive provision and fixes to border security and the immigration and mass migration issue, which, contrary to perhaps current rhetoric, I'd like to remind people as well that Elon Musk back in the election cycle cited as one of the major reasons he was voting for and supporting Trump to begin with, which also begs the question, okay, what is the America Party's stance on immigration going to be? I mean, that's, one thing that needs to be considered given especially recent events. But also number two, again here, how much of the scorn or the battle here over starting a new party is really grounded in the principle of the issues, or is it something else? Because a casual reminder here, this is what Elon was saying back in November, right before the election.
I view this election as a turning point, like a fork in the road of destiny that is incredibly important. I've not been politically active until this election, and the reason I've been politically active this election is because I think if we don't elect Trump, I think we will lose. We will lose democracy in this country. We will lose the two-party system, and let me explain why. So there's only like six or seven swing states. The margin of victory in those states is small, often like 10 or 20,000 votes. What the Democrat administration has been doing is importing vast numbers of illegals into swing states. You can look at the numbers on the actual government website, meaning you don't take my word for it. You'll just look at the numbers as reported by the government, which is controlled by the Democrats. And what we're seeing is triple-digit increases in the number of illegals in every swing state. In some cases, 700% increases. These are gigantic numbers. So if you have a state that has a 10 or 20,000 vote margin, and you put 200,000 illegals into that state, you 10x you swamp the. It's not a swing state anymore.
So was this ever an essential issue to him, or was it not? I'm asking genuine, serious questions here, because it's all, frankly, kind of confusing, I guess, in that regard. I mean, again, it seems to me there's a little bit more personal matters potentially at hand here, but nonetheless, you have Elon Musk here going out and saying that President Trump will, quote, bankrupt the country. That's the reason why he's began to attack him and is starting the America Party here. We once again reiterate, no evidence of that actually in the big, beautiful bill, but further, Elon is supporting subsidies for green energy. Again, wonder why he might do that. But that's money going out, taxpayer money going to help industries in the United States, which is spending government money, number one. Elon was also a vocal opponent of Trump's tariff policy, which raises revenue for the United States. It's like, okay, I don't know, right? But anyways, there you have it. Now, with that said, what is the America Party, allegedly in Elon's words here, going to do? Well, as you can see, someone asks him, midterms are 2028. He's saying here, the way we're going to crack the uniparty system is by using a variant of how Epaminondas, shattered the myth of Spartan invincibility at Lustra, extremely concentrated force at a precise location on the battlefield. I would have to assume there, by the way, basically suggesting he wants to sabotage the GOP in a few major swing states, as you can see here, by next year going into the midterms, which again, I think in his words, he's making it pretty clear that is the intention here. I'm sure some people will say, no, that's not what it's going to do. It's like, it's everyone should have the right technically to run and all of that. I'm going to be totally naive to how the American political system works. Well, with that said, I want to once again bring back to you the quote here from June. Again, this is when he was making the truce with Trump and he kind of was apologizing, deleting the Epstein stuff and all that, saying I went too far, okay, etc., etc. So here, take a look at this. You can find this on X, by the way. He actually said this just a month ago, exactly a month ago, actually, on June 6th, because this guy here points out that if Elon starts a new political party and it gets 20% of the vote, mostly from Republicans, that will, of course, in the words here, cause Democrats, number 4, to win a supermajority, yes, and Democrats, incidentally, would probably throw Elon Musk in prison once they hold the supermajority. Elon responded here after, again, like kind of apologizing to Trump here, saying, yeah, pretty much. Again, here admitting in his own words, so he clearly understands, he's not naive, that what he wants to do here is create a supermajority for the Democrats. He backed off on this idea. Now he is apparently going back to doing it. Okay, well, nonetheless, according to Rasmussen, They put out a recent poll on this, trying to figure out how Musk's political party would actually do, and they found that Republicans polled at 35%, Democrats polled at 35%, and Elon's party polled at 8%. Which is, by the way, I think in practice, it probably would be even less than that because, as you often see with third parties, in off years, long before the election, they get a lot of hype, and then come general election season, typically voters tend to consolidate, and behind the two major parties, you kind of saw this with RFK, for instance, and many third parties, usually in the elections where they're doing very well in the spring, but by November, basically nobody cares about it. But I bring that all up to say that, as we all know, Elon's America Party has no actual chance of winning the election. The only point of it, the only purpose behind it would be it would sabotage the Republicans in elections, which you might say, oh, will genuinely prove a point about the deficit issue that Elon doesn't understand. But even if you want to make that argument, okay, so the solution there, the big, gotcha is we're going to hand the full political power to the Democrats, who most certainly will not be fiscally conservative, who most certainly will not balance the budget or fix the deficit. It all doesn't make any sense. It's a fundamental, I don't know if it's a misunderstanding, I don't know if it's intentional sabotage, but it does not accurately understand, right, how American politics actually does work. And furthermore, what I would like to note here, and truly, because I understand some people are going to say this, look, I respect Elon Musk 100% a lot. I mean, we owe him a lot of credit for what he did with X buying Twitter back in 2022. I think he deserves a lot of credit for helping Trump in the 2024 election. I reject the narrative that he single-handedly won the election for Trump, or that necessarily Trump would not have won the election without him. But still, okay, a lot of credit there. But, with that in mind, I think it's also important to note here that does not make him right about things, guys, till the end of time. Okay, and I think also, furthermore, when you look at the Trump mandate itself and what it was truly about, again here, by the way, the big, beautiful bill, most aggressive, fiscally conservative bill in modern history. But even on top of that, right, the idea here that Trump's mandate ever fundamentally was even about what Elon Musk is arguing for here, right? And libertarians have said that, oh, the balancing of the budget allegedly in their eyes is more important than like securing the border or stopping the invasion of this country, right? That decision was made on November 5th. And by the way, long before it was long made before, when Donald Trump seized control of the Republican Party away from some of the more Tea Party leaning conservatives who basically made the argument that, oh, fiscal conservatism is more important than like protecting and defending and keeping alive the soul of the American nation state itself. But okay, whatever. Nonetheless, okay, this is the situation you are seeing. And if you ever wanted to be the least bit skeptical about what is going to happen as a result of this, I mean, just take a look at the very people who are celebrating this decision here. Is specifically, yes, guess what? The Democrats, right? Democrats are massively happy. Suddenly, right? It's like 2 months ago. According to them, this is so transparent. Elon Musk, remember, was killing people. They said that the USAID cuts, which he largely spearheaded, would kill, they were saying 14 million people. They largely blame him as the guy who took away so many government benefits for people that they say is going to cost lives, all this dramatic talk. Now suddenly he's their best friend. Why is it? What is it about? Because objectively, this is a very good thing for them. It's not a good thing for even the most well-meaning fiscal conservatives. And if you have, again, any speculation about that, take a look at the very people who are clamoring behind Elon Musk's America Party, including none other than, apparently, the new top ally of this is none other than Mark Cuban. That is right, as you can see here, Mark Cuban, Kamala Harris's top surrogate in 2024. Let's not forget, we all know who this guy is, what he's all about, is clamoring here, saying he works with voter choice to help get you on the ballot. So Mark Cuban is actively saying he's going to help the America Party essentially get ballot access. He furthermore has been retweeted here after Elon went out and said, is it time to create a new party in America that actually represents the supposed 80% in the middle? Mark Cuban here says, checkmark, checkmark, got reposted there by the America Party. So full best friends here, apparently full endorsements, getting behind, again, Mark Cuban. Elon Musk today, furthermore, I just want to point this out, again, because there's a lot of people, not a lot, I think there's a small minority of people who are going to fall for this out of like genuine good faith. Again, this transparently, I don't even think is about the so-called principles of the fiscal conservatism or whatever they're talking about here, given by the fact that just today, Elon Musk has started following none other than Andrew Yang. Now, you may remember, we haven't heard that name in a while, but Andrew Yang is, of course, the 2020 Democrat presidential candidate who was most known for the idea of universal basic income. In other words, he wanted to give out a free check of, I believe it was $1,000 a month to every American citizen in this country. Needless to say, giving out free money to people is not exactly fiscally conservative. It's not exactly in any way going to be balancing the budget or helping to do that anytime soon. But what is this about? Essentially a coalition of a lot of people who don't like Trump, or as we've seen many times before, basically had a falling out with Trump, unite over the simple principle of, in one way or the other, we're going to sabotage Trump. I'm not saying that's necessarily even what Elon is trying to do deep down, but I think it's pretty clear that by proxy of the fact that he's now working with top guys like Mark Cuban and Andrew Yang, that is exactly the outcome here, guys, that you're going to see. Scott Pressler here putting out a comment I totally agree with. Today is Saturday, July 5th, 2025. I have warned that the creation of a third party will simply siphon votes away from the Republican Party with the warnings of the Ross Perot effect. By the way, remember the fact that he got Bill Clinton elected? And I'm not even a huge Bush supporter. Maybe in that election, we're not talking about a Donald Trump type of Republican Party, but just as a mathematical display of what happens when you do this type of stuff. And losing Virginia in 2013 because of a third party, buyer beware, and a Democrat House. By the way, if Elon got involved in a serious way and it was actually successful, got on the ballot, you could even be looking at a Democrat Senate by some crazy miracle just by the proxy of splitting votes if he does it effectively. A Democrat House in 2026 equals game over. 100% true there, by the way. And so, again, we'll leave some grounds open to see if Elon actually goes through with this idea. I think that, frankly, in some ways, he overestimates his own popularity, right? I think a lot of the MAGA base here, actually the MAGA base itself, I should say, voted for Trump and not him, right? Now, a lot of people like him or want to like him. But it's also important to point out here a lot of his popularity in the modern political sense, not talking about the past stuff with Tesla and all that, but his political popularity is tied directly to Trump and his involvement with the 2024 election, X and all that stuff, and the MAGA movement. And so, again, I don't think this idea will go very far personally, besides the fact that it might take a couple percent and just siphon votes away from the Republican Party and hand power to the Democrats. So here's hoping Elon basically just sells off on this idea, or if he does go through with it, that its effect is basically non-existent, right? It never really catches on. But yeah, definitely, you're looking at the Democrat Party right now. And yet they, have the advantage in the midterms of the fact that they're not the incumbent party, and usually that helps you a little bit. But besides that, right, no real strengths going into 2026. You're talking about a party with an approval rating in the 20s. They're running against a economy right now that's looking like by 2026 it will be in a strong position. President Trump fulfilling his promises, et cetera, et cetera. So they were basically beaten down to the canvas, now suddenly given new life by this potential idea. Again, here's just hoping it ultimately does not happen. But with that said, guys, let me know your thoughts on the America Party in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? This is like a scorned effort to essentially just help the Democrats, for whatever reason he wants to do it. Do you think, as some people are saying, his policies or the idea here is to help himself personally? Do you disagree totally? Do you think that this is a truly principled stand and, this is what we need and Trump's betrayed us, all that? Let me know. Be sure here, guys, to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.